the announcement. Are we? There we, yeah, looks like we're good. There it is. Ooh. Okay. All right. Thanks everybody for coming out to Decontrol here for ETH Van. We're here every Thursday, or most Thursdays anyways. Sometimes we take a little break, but yeah, thanks for everybody making it out here. This is one of the last, some of the last ETH Vans that we're going to be having at this location. We are actively working to get a new spot. We've got a couple short lists, so we'll keep everybody informed with that. But yeah, congratulations to everyone who gets to hang out in this magical space for the next, we've got about a month left. So we've got maybe 3-4 more ETH Vans here before we end up packing everything up and start moving to the next location. Both places that we're looking at right now are kind of close by, one on Hastings, another on Water. So yeah, we might have, it'll be all right. It'll be all right. So yeah, we'll keep everybody posted on that. But if you are willing and able and have some spare time, we would be looking for all kinds of bodies to help pack up this space. We've got a lot of things to collect, put together, pack, try and get it ready for moving. So that'll start kind of in the second, third week of March. So in 2-3 weeks from now, we'll be starting to kind of pack things up. We're going to try and keep this main area as usable as possible, but things in the back, things in the other alleyways and whatnot could use some help starting to get things packed up. So yeah, the other part of that too is that the next space that we go to is probably going to be a little bit, it's going to be different. It's going to be above ground. There's going to be daylight. Yes. Some magical things happen. So yeah, some different kind of stuff. But we are looking to kind of open it up towards some sort of co-working stuff too, so dedicated desks, maybe even some office spaces. We've got a few different kind of options there. So if anybody is interested in those types of things, please reach out to us and just say, hey, this would be interesting. This is what we would like to see. Here's, how much I'm willing to offer or, be able to pay for this sort of thing. And then we'll probably open it up to just like an open membership as well. Our rent costs are going to be increasing, kind of 3-4-fold. So it's we've been pretty fortunate here. So we've been able to keep this, just kind of open and free because of our donations that have just happened in the past. So we're still going to keep free events for like this, like ETH Vans. Always, the goal is to keep this free and available to everyone. But to have it more open for, 24-hour access is something that we do here at this space too. And we haven't been asking anybody for any kind of donations or anything, or well, if people want to donate, you're always welcome to. We do have you should be able to see for those at home, we have the Giveth donate place too. We also have a Geyser account. Now that we're talking about UTXO stuff, we have a Geyser account with Bitcoin. Nice. So we're gonna try and make the Decontrol, so dctrl.wtf website a little more comprehensive so that people can stay focused with us, understand kind of the offerings of what we're looking to do and what we'll be able to provide, and just have the donation links there too. So yeah, it's a bunch of volunteers trying to make this happen, and we've been doing it for years, trying to keep this thing afloat. So every little bit helps. But yeah, so that's kind of the latest on the Decontrol stuff. Yeah, we've got, as I always do this too with the POAPs. So if everybody who doesn't know what a POAP is, we have a couple here. Okay. So this is the Proof of Attendance Protocol. It's basically an NFT that you can mint for free. All you need to do is download the app, and it's called POAP, POAP.xyz, and they have an app called the POAP Home. So you just want to download that, and then you're going to search when you get that in. Once you open it up and you can have your wallet address, or I think you can even sign up with email. You can then scan location. There's like a mint button at the bottom. You scan location, and there's 2 POAPs to mint. One from tonight, for Guillaume's talk, and there's also one that indicates that you've been at the space in the last month. You've been here at Decontrol in the final countdown. So two magical ones to collect. So anybody else that is already familiar with POAP, I know a few people have downloaded it tonight already, or have already minted the POAP. But make sure you do that. These are some of the last ones in this magical space. So it's a good little bookmark of your life to remember that you were here. All right, enough of me yammering on here. Yeah, we've got Monday nights. We have poetry. Tuesday jam nights every once in a while. I think Andrew's away, so that probably won't be happening for a little bit. We're here Thursdays. And yeah, I think we've also got one later in March. I think Andrew is also putting together kind of an ETH Global event as well. With it'll be over at Global Relay, I think is the plan there. So that's a little more bringing other people and other groups in together to make that happen. All right. With no further ado, we have Guillaume taking us back to basics here. We have UTXO versus the account model. So thank you very much, sir. Take it away.
So this is Guillaume. I'm really happy to be here in Decontrol. I've been coming for a long time now, and it's always good to be here, meeting incredible people. So thank you, everyone, to be involved in this place. So I've been in crypto for a long time now, and I'm working for Quantstriker, that is like a tax reporting company. I will not speak about tax today, no worries. Even if the season is coming. So this presentation is not related at all to tax or Quantstriker. So I call it back to basics because I will try to answer to one fundamental point of blockchain about the transaction model. So I will be focusing on UTXO, that is used mainly by Bitcoin, but other chains also use this kind of mechanics. Dodge, for example. ADA also, I think, yeah. And the account model that is used by Ethereum and also used by Solana, but with some kind of difference between both. Here's my slide. So what will be the agenda today? I will explain why blockchain even need a transaction model. After, I will go deep into UTXO, and I will use the cash analogy to explain it. After, I will speak about Ethereum account model, that is more like a bank account model. And after, I will talk about Solana, that is another account model, but that use some twists that unlock massive parallelism. And I will close with a slide-by-slide comparison between the three chains. So we have the UTXO model from Bitcoin. So it's working as you have first here the UTXO model that's working as like a classic bill payment. So if I pay with cash, I will have some change and I will have a receipt. When again, Ethereum and Solana is more like a bank account. If you do transfer, you just deduct from your wallet balance. And the idea here will be to answer to the main question is when Alice says she will send coin to Bob, how do we know that Alice has these 5 coins and that she's not lying? Because in blockchain, we don't have central organization that confirm this data. So let's look into Bitcoin. So let's forget crypto for a second. So imagine you want to pay $8. You have a $10 bills. You will give $10. The people will take the $8. You will receive a receipt, and they will give you back $2. So that's how UTXO works. So basically, you have imagine that each UTXO is like a bill or a coin into your wallet. So when you use your $10 are gone, and you have your receipt for what you bought for $8, and you receive a $2 bill. So that's exactly how Bitcoin works. So UTXO is kind of an unspent output. And so when you spend this UTXO, they are like destroyed. They don't exist anymore. So how does it work with this example? For example, Alice has 2 UTXO, one of 6 Bitcoin and one of 4 Bitcoin. So it's 2 different bills that you could have in your wallet. If you want to pay 8 Bitcoin, you will have to send these 2 UTXO that represent 10 Bitcoin in total. You will send it to Bob. Bob will send you the change, and you will also have to pay the miners in this condition. Bitcoin is proof of work technology, so you have to pay the people that's securing and have machine that's working to secure the network. And so if you add your 8 Bitcoin, 1.9 and 0.9 Bitcoin, you have your 10 Bitcoin. So you can prove mathematically that your 10 Bitcoin are here and that you are not lying. So UTXO cannot be double spent. You can spend only one time because when you use this UTXO, they are destroyed. When you receive the change, it's a new UTXO with a new address that is created on chain. One thing important to consider is if you use different UTXOs, they can be validated in the same block. So you can have the same kind of parallelism between two different UTXOs. So one thing is kind of complex to know is what is your wall balance. Basically, is the addition of all your UTXO in your wallet. So if you have 8, 2, 1, you need to sum all this Bitcoin to have your total balance. Is what doing your wallet, showing you the total of all your UTXO in your wallet. So I will show you some example of transaction. Okay, yeah, good. Directly on the Explorer. Of the screen. Okay, loading. Okay. So for example, we have this transaction. So here we think like a representation of what's happened basically on chain. So we see that the user sent 007 Bitcoin to another user. So the user received, in this case, 0008 Bitcoin here. And here, this is a change, basically, that went back as a new UTXO. In this case, it's the same address if you checked. So it's not really good for privacy and security. It could be another UTXO. But in this example, it's coming back to a new UTXO with the same address. And on top of it, you have the fees that are paid, that you can see here, that are paid to miners. So this is a classic transaction. You send money, you have your change coming back to your wallet. And here you have another example with a user sending a lot of UTXO. So as you can see, he sent like several transactions in Bitcoin. And at the end, he received only one transaction. So that's what we call consolidation in terms of UTXO. So basically, it's merging. It's like you have like a lot of change. You're going and you want a big bill of $100. You're giving all your UTXO, and he gives you one UTXO that is a new address. So the previous one are burned, and a new UTXO is created with a total of your balance. Less, again, you have to pay fees. That's an important point to consider when you're doing UTXO management.
Just one piece I'd like to add in there,
sure.
Because people might wonder, why would you put this together? Because this creates each of those UTXOs separately. If let's take a look, all those addresses are different, right? So your inputs, which are down at the bottom, so those ones are all separate and different. So because those addresses, those UTXOs don't know anything else about each other, right? So those are literally private in a sense, or let's assume that they are private for this. So those ones, each UTXO is different. So it's just like a bill doesn't know about the other bill, right? Or a coin doesn't know about the other coin. But when you merge them together, you've now created all of those addresses previously are now linked to the new address, which we see on the right-hand side. So it does kind of decrease privacy in a sense, because you can say, well, we know that all 5 of those addresses, five addresses previously are all linked to that same address. So that's fine. But you say, well, then why are you doing this? Why are you consolidating your UTXOs? And generally, like what people will do is when there's a low fee environment. So right now, like we're paying less than 1 sat per byte for transactions right now. So because for each of these inputs, you have to pay the miner fee per input as well. So you have 1 sat per byte is happening on each one of those inputs to then give you this output. So in a low fee environment right now, it's fantastic because you're paying 5 fees because you're 5 times 1, so you're paying effectively, let's call it 5 sats. Whereas with this next output that you have right now, that UTXO that we've consolidated, when you spend it, you're only going to have to pay one, the one miner fee instead, or not miner fee, the one output, or you only have one input, so you only have to pay one fee, if that makes sense. So on all the previous UTXOs that we see over on the left-hand side, you have to pay for each one of those because all of those have to go into a new one. Or anytime you spend them, it requires the base fee for that. So sometimes we've seen people saying like, "Oh, I sent some Bitcoin and it cost me like $50 to send," especially when we're in a high fee environment. And we, well, that's not right because the fees are way less than $50 right now. You must have had a wallet problem. But no, a lot of times it's people that are buying small amounts of Bitcoin and not consolidating it. Then they end up paying like a massive amount of fees. So if you have $10 in Bitcoin, let's say in each of these UTXOs, and then you go to spend it, and the mining fee is really high. Maybe it's $2 per fee, right? And if you had all 5 of those, now you're going to pay $10 in fees to move around $50 in Bitcoin. So that gets, just things to be mindful of in the UTXO set. So good. I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah. And if anybody has questions, make sure you just use the mic so that the people at home can hear it too.
Okay. Thank you for the introduction of my next. But thank you.
Sorry, bro.
Your explanation was perfect. But yeah, as Tangle was saying, you have a whole things happening around managing your UTXO. So like Tangle was saying about the fees cost, about transaction efficiency, but also about privacy. Because if you have these 5 transactions, they are not linked together. But when you consolidate to one UTXO, now you have your whole amount on one transaction. So imagine you have 10 Bitcoin, you pay for $10, you will have to send, if your UTXO is 10 Bitcoin. So now the user that received this $10 know that you have 10 Bitcoin on your wallet. And so you don't want to share your transaction history and your finance to everyone. So that's also why it's interesting sometimes to have a small UTXO for small payment. But you have to consider fees. So like we were saying, for example, if you have to pay something that costs $10, but you have to pay $10 in fees, it makes no sense. So having really small UTXO is not interesting. Yeah.
Or is there any? Oh. So what's the ideal size for UTXO? Is it like 50? I don't know, 0.5, point something.
Yeah, I looked at this information. I was curious, and many websites say 1 million of Satoshi, that is 0.01 Bitcoin. But at the end, it depends on the fees on the network, because if you pay like few cents for a transaction, it's not the same if you pay $10 for a transaction. So right now, fees are really low. So I would say you can lower your UTXO. But yeah, many websites I looked, they all say 1 million Satoshi, that is 0.01 Bitcoin. And especially for cold storage, if you want to keep it for a long term, it's good to have a certain amount of Satoshi thing. But I don't think there is a right answer to this question, depending on the fees at the end. But yeah, I saw this amount on many different websites. And so, yeah, like we were saying, for example, if you don't pay for the amount of Bitcoin you're sending, but you are paying for the size of your transaction. So 3 UTXO, even if the same value of 1 UTXO, will be more expensive. So basically, if you want to send 1 Bitcoin, it's cheaper to send 1 Bitcoin in 1 UTXO than sending 0.3 or 3 times, basically. So avoid UTXO that are too small because of fees. Avoid UTXO that are too large because you compromise your privacy at some point. So it's interesting also to use separate UTXO for different sources. if you have like a cold wallet that you're buying from an exchange that is KYC, for example, keeping on the same UTXO, that's another one that you're using to pay your day-to-day coffee, for example. Yeah. So now we'll switch to Ethereum. So Ethereum is completely different than the UTXO model. It uses a classic account model. So it's like, imagine your bank account. You see you have $100. You send $70. You have now $30 remaining. You don't send in your wallet account and having some cash back coming somehow. So it's like a classic bank system. Ethereum has some specificity. First of all, you have two types of accounts that's on Ethereum. You have external owned account that is like your wallet, so MetaMask, Rabi, Coinbase wallet. So it's like used by there is a human behind it, and you have to sign with a private key. And the second point are smart contract accounts. So they are like programs. When we speak about a smart contract, it's like code, basically. It's like code that are executed when you send a transaction to it, that do whatever you want on-chain. They have a balance, but they are not controlled by a person. So for example, when you go to Uniswap and you do a swap, or you buy an NFT on OpenSea, you are interacting with the external on account. You have also a few other parameters on Ethereum. You have the balance, how much you have. You have some code in case of a smart contract. And you have a storage that is like a tiny database attached to your contract. But one important point here is the nonce. So basically, the nonce is like a counter that is incremented every time you do transaction. So you have a new wallet, transaction 0, second transaction, transaction 1, 2, 3. And on Ethereum, you have to process sequentially your transaction. So basically, transaction nonce 1 need to be executed before transaction nonce 2. You have to execute sequentially your transaction. Also, in terms of gas fees, they are paid in Ethereum. On Ethereum, it's also a gas token. And fees are explicit. You need to declare how much gas you are willing to pay before doing a transaction. So yeah, like I said, you have a sequential order. So you have not parallelism on Ethereum. Each transaction needs to be executed before the previous one. So basically, Ethereum is one giant global state that every transaction modifies one at a time. You have smart contract. Okay, you can run code. That's something that you cannot really do. You can do few scripting on Bitcoin, but that you cannot really do on Bitcoin. So here it's a flow of transaction. So basically, you have to create a transaction, fill the 5 fields that we talked about it. You have to sign with your private keys. And after, you broadcast it to the network where it's waiting to be picked up. So when Bitcoin uses computing power, Ethereum uses proof of stake. So that's another technology. When validators have to lock 32 Ethereum to be validator, so around $70,000 right now. And one is randomly selected to pick transaction. And usually, the one with the highest fees will be chosen by this validator that at the end want to make most money. And why staking Ethereum is like if you're lying, if you are a malicious actor, you will have a slashing, it's called. So basically, they will take part of your deposit as a penalty to lie to the network. Each transaction is run to the EVM, that's the Ethereum virtual machine. It's like the computer of Ethereum that will update all the balance. For example, Alice lost that amount of Ethereum, Bob gained that amount of Ethereum, and he will also execute the program, the code, the smart contract. Okay. So proof of stake is more efficient in terms of energy than proof of work Bitcoin, but have some other point to consider. They say it consumes 99.9% less energy than Bitcoin. So now we'll compare this with Solana, that is also using the same account model, so like your bank account, basically. So again, the exact balance change, no change coming back, but you use a bit of difference than the proof of stake. On top of it, you have the proof of history. So on the chain, you have a cryptographic clock that is built directly into the chain. So normally, validators have to agree what's happened first, like a group of people trying to synchronize together. But with Solana, they build a clock directly into the chain, so everyone can trust the timestamp without discussing it. And the other point that is the specificity of this chain is like you have associated token account called ATA. Basically, each token has a different account. So on Ethereum, if you have Ethereum, USDC, dollar on chain, meme coin or whatever, they are on to the same wallet, the same address. On Solana, each token has a different address. So for example, Alice Solana are in a different account that her dollar, for example, USDC. I'm not the right diapo. Yeah, it was this one, better. And so, as you can see, the three accounts are on the same, the three tokens are on the same account, but on different address. So you can parallelize this transaction that not touching the same account. So meaning you can send Solana and send USDC, dollar on chain, in the same time. So that's also allow an increase of transaction per second that is way better than Ethereum. Go back to the good one. So like what I was saying, the speed is way better. Because on Ethereum, on Solana, before you run a transaction, you have to declare every account that you will touch, read or write. So the chain, here on Ethereum, you have the EVM, here it's called the SVM, C-level virtual machine. And so it will know in advance which part it will touch, which account it will touch. And so if two transactions doesn't touch the same account, they can be done in parallel. But if they touch the same account, they will have to do sequentially. So in result, we have better speed. Fees are way lower. Yeah, that's the main point. So we see that Bitcoin is a bit slower, Ethereum is a bit faster, and Solana is way faster in terms of transaction per second. So to sum up, Bitcoin, we have to think about cash. You don't have balance, you have bills. You spend the wall, you get back the change. It's really secure, simple, and battle tested, but it's not really built for complex programming, and it can be slow. Ethereum is more like a bank account, so you have the exact balance. You can have like smart contracts or code living on the chain, you have a massive developer ecosystem, but each transaction have to run in order sequentially. Solana is like Ethereum, but each token has its own account. So you can unlock true parallelism. So it's 3 chains, 3 different answers for the same question. How do we prove Alice as a coin she tried to spend? But we have also to remember the trilemma of crypto, that is security, decentralization, and scalability. And all these chains are really focusing on 2 points, and we didn't really find a way right now to have the security, decentralization, and scalability at the maximum. Yeah, that's the sum up. Thanks for coming tonight. And if you have any question, don't hesitate.
You have a question.
Okay, all good? Yeah? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
So it might sound stupid, but when you look at this, it looks like, I mean, Solana and Ethereum are more modern ways in comparison to Bitcoin. So I'm quite surprised to see that the value of the Bitcoin is way higher in comparison to the 2 others. So do you have an explanation for that? If there is one, maybe it's a stupid question, I don't know.
No, it's not a stupid question. But first, the value of a coin, you have to look the market cap. So I don't know if you speak about the price or the market cap, but there are 2 different things. But you're right, Bitcoin has the biggest market cap. So all the value of Bitcoin is way higher than all the value of Ethereum and Solana living. But I think at the end, they all have specific usage. So we know that Bitcoin is really secure. It's really decentralized. Solana, for example, is way faster, but you need more hardware. It's more expensive to run a validator. So it's less decentralized. So I don't know if I should give an answer, but I will say that if you want to save money and you want to, everyone speak about Bitcoin being the gold, numeric gold. So I think this is how I see Bitcoin. I will not use Bitcoin to pay every day for shopping or buying NFT or whatever. Even if on Bitcoin, now you have like parallel chain. What's the name? You have several parallel chains that allow you to pay lower fees when you do transaction. Lightning, thank you. You can pay in Lightning. By the way, in Vancouver, there is a lot of place where you can pay in Lightning. So it's really cool. So you can spend your Bitcoin.
You can use it on the Pepsi.
You can buy a can.
Right. Back there, just in the back.
So you can use it in many places in Vancouver and pay in Lightning. So but you are not really on the main chain of Bitcoin, so you are not really irritating the security of Bitcoin. And I would say between Solana and Ethereum, but Solana is really cheap. So I think at the end, if you want to do micropayment and stuff like that, Solana can be the answer. When Ethereum is more decentralized, more secure, I don't know, but more decentralized for sure. So for example, if you have like expensive NFT JPEG, I will keep it on Ethereum. And if I want to pay micropayment, I will use Solana. So I think they have like different market position.
Okay, thanks. Maybe just a couple other things to add too is that like Bitcoin is, now however many years old. What are we at 17 years? So I mean it's kind of got its Lindy effect too. And not only is it the oldest, it's the the most well known and recognized, but like also the properties behind it too, where there's only ever going to be 21 million Bitcoin, and so a lot of people look at that and say, we have a finite amount of Bitcoin, whereas Ethereum and Solana, there's an infinite amount that will ever be printed. So Ethereum has like the burn mechanism, so there's like the supply will be kind of will fluctuate as far as like having more or less. Solana, I'm not 100% on what they're. I mean, it's just that they have a much larger inflation rate. I'm not sure how the the burn works with it or how that operates. I should be a little tighter on that. But with Bitcoin, you have that value proposition of saying this is a finite amount that will ever be produced. There is inflation every year just due to mining supply, right? Because every block there's 3.125 that comes out, but that can all be accounted for and will only ever add up to, with the halvings, it always gets decreases every 4 years, but that always adds up to 21 million at the very end. So that way, that also provides more value for speculators, investors, people that want to believe in hard money, sound money, that kind of narrative. So there's that piece as well, not only being it the oldest, whereas Ethereum, was kind of pushed out to be the world computer in the early days, which does secure a lot of DeFi as well, right? So you have a lot of value is captured into DeFi, which also includes stable coins and all that other stuff. So it allows you to do a lot more financial stuff. And then Solana is just the new kind of like multi-purpose chain is maybe the way to put it too, is that you can do a lot of shit on it for fast and move fast and break shit, and that's and it's got its value prop too for that sense.
Yes, I've got a question here. So for me, mostly an NFT guy, not overly tech savvy, definitely Ethereum native. So this is a question about the Bitcoin UTXOs. I'm sure most people here that use Bitcoin could probably answer it as well, but I'm just curious as kind of a noob with that. Where is the user, when you're talking about consolidating those UTXOs, where is that happening? Where is the user doing that? I'm just kind of curious.
But you can do it directly from your wallet and sending to your own wallet, for example. But you have also some software website that allow you to see all your UTXO,
right,
and you can select them to group them. But just basically sending 3 UTXO to your own address, to another on your address, will consolidate these 3 transactions in one transaction. Yeah.
Definitely sort of a limitation of Bitcoin, because that just feels like something a smart contract would be a solution for on Ethereum, right? The other question that I had too is just when you're talking about consolidating those UTXOs, when you're talking about cost and how, when you consolidate into one, it's going to be cheaper to send. Those are all like when you're funneling like that, are each of those UTXOs, they're not cost, like the fees combined are not that much when you are consolidating? You see where I'm going with that? Like rather than say 5 transactions all at once, or separately, like that's going to be more expensive than all at once when it's consolidating. You kind of see what I mean?
Yeah. So if you do consolidation, you do it when the fees are low. So to be ready to pay when the fees are higher. So yeah, you need to monitor the fees.
But just like as a rule of thumb, right? Like not necessarily how much those fees are, but just like, if you're sending them all at once in 5 separate directions versus consolidating 5 into 1, it's cheaper to do the consolidation.
I think maybe there's just
maybe I'm missing something.
Just
yeah.
a little miss.
Yeah.
I'll just talk it through again quickly because I think I see where you're thinking about this differently. It's not like you can send your UTXOs one at a time to an address and consolidate it, right? If you're saying, I'll send one here, one layer, all 5 of those end up at the same address. Those are all still 5 separate UTXOs that are just on the same address, right? Mm-hmm. So if you're going to have all 5 of them, when you do that, when you were to say, let's take 5 UTXOs that are from different addresses but are within your wallet, and when you send that over, you end up with one consolidated UTXO. However, each one of those, because it was 5 inputs, you have to pay 5 of the fees,
right,
no matter what. So if you were to pay one at a time, it doesn't work. You're not going to be able to consolidate. You would only pay one UTXO.
No, but that's kind of what I was saying. Yeah.
Right.
So I was curious because when you guys were talking about it, I can do some more research just on my own. But when you guys were talking about it, you did reference that when you are consolidating, it's going to cost you less than as opposed to 5 separate transactions. I thought that's what you said. No big deal.
No, yeah.
Well, afterwards, like it's going to cost right now when you're consolidating.
Yeah.
That's the point. Is we want to like regardless of how many UTXOs you put in there, yeah, like it's going to be whatever your inputs are. Yeah. That's how it's whatever the fees are on the network. You're going to pay a network fee for each one of those, right?
Copy.
So if it's consolidated, now you have like your big bill instead of a whole bunch of little bills. You paid a low fee low fee environment, so you pay for the solid.
I see what you're talking about. That's why you're talking about to watch and then do it. Yeah. Okay, so you do it when it's low.
Exactly. Because now if you had those 5, and going back to that kind of example we talked about, you're paying way more when the fees are high.
Copy.
And so if you have when it's low, then even if fees are high, when you have that consolidated solid UTXO.
So it's timings involved with all this as well.
It's literally timing. But over the past year, I don't know, maybe 6 months, Like the fees have just been so low on Bitcoin. Like, we're now less than 1 sat per byte. We're actually paying in the decimal points now.
Appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
No, I just wanted to say something interesting about you're right in that Ethereum was inspired by bank account and how that works. That's why they did that, and they even made sure that the address derivation was potentially IBAN compatible, like international bank account numbers. But I feel like the first to really try to experiment with that, even though it wasn't its own chain, was Mastercoin, if anyone remembers that. And it was sort of a side chain to Bitcoin, and it would encode transactions in there, but it kept track of like a virtual balance between accounts. Had like tried to do other account types, but it's sort of a meta protocol and not really a blockchain. So, and famously, Vitalik worked there for a while, and we're moving too slow or something like this, and then wait, actually, you know what? I don't know if he worked there, but he helped them in some way and was inspired by it to start Ethereum. Maybe I'm confusing that with color coins, but then Mastercoin, created. I think it was the first where you could have like other arbitrary assets issued on there, and then Tether was one of the first ones that comes out of that. So it's all inspired by each other. But yeah, nice talk. Thank you.
UTXO is allowed to do some kind of dust attacks. Do you know about that? Any famous or big attack in that sense?
To do what? To like
To kind of for it's a privacy concern, because once you get a dust small amount of sats, like 1,000 sats, and then you start to move them, you reveal your sort of things. So what's the state of that? Is it common on the Bitcoin chain these days?
I have no idea.
Like dust attacks and stuff?
I didn't even know they were doing it on Bitcoin. I know on Ethereum they were doing it at some point with mixing coin and sending to address. On Bitcoin, I have no idea now. Yeah. Yeah, I see what you're saying, but yeah, I don't know.
All right. Anybody else? Oh, we got one in the back. All right.
Yeah, thanks for this talk. I never heard of UTXOs or how it works, so very interesting to learn about it. I'm just curious how this came about, whether you know whether it was like when it was designed, is this kind of like, was this logical to them, or was this kind of they didn't think of the balances with what Ethereum is doing, because it makes so much more sense, of course. It's a very archaic, old school way, I guess. So yeah, just wondering whether you know anything about how that came about to go for that model other than just account balances.
I don't know, but I guess it was a more secure and simple way to do it, to just save the unspent coin and not having like a balance system. But I don't know why. Yeah.
That's 100% right. Double spend was the main thing, besides Byzantine General's problem. Like, you can't trust most of the participants in distributed systems. So that was what they were trying to solve. And I think blockchain even predates Bitcoin by 10 years or something like that in the early 90s. So I'm fairly certain that this was the way.
Secure.
Yeah, and they're cited in the white paper. But all those technologies bundled together was the innovation of Bitcoin. Like, all the components existed, and I believe that's how they were solving it with like eCash. And I believe Wei Dai had B Money and these others, and they really like resemble this kind of distributed timestamping system that prevents, or I mean, this makes it very hard to double spend and enforces,
A follow-up question when
the
it
protection.
comes to that is if people even knew that that was happening, probably not. I don't know. Because you're kind of, let's say you have a full Bitcoin at today's value, you're basically sending a full Bitcoin to another address for $10 spent. So you're kind of making yourself very vulnerable in that sense. But I guess security has been shown that it's secure. But when you start off and you're sending big amounts or small amounts, but you're sending big amounts and you're getting your big amount back, I don't know. I'm still wrapping my head around it, but your double spent
Yeah.
indeed makes a lot of sense.
I think you also look at it like because it's public, like, and you have to download entire chain. You can operate as if you don't trust anyone. So UTXO is like more for accounting, or where Guillaume works is like you can download the whole blockchain and audit it, and you could be like, all right, all of the UTXOs and the inputs, add up, less the fee. And then, according to the schedule, only this many block rewards were created. And we can add that all up and be like, yep, it's under 21 million. Now we audited the whole supply and everything that went on. And then it's a lot harder when there's a world state. You kind of have to trust that the code works. Like, that's also why it's open source. Like, you have to trust that it's executing an economic, program and monetary system. And there's no bugs in it. But that didn't prevent Bitcoins being created out of nowhere, in the early day and these kind of issues. Like, it didn't prevent it, but it makes it more auditable.
Yeah. One other thing I'll add to this as well is like with the UTXO model, your blockchain size is dramatically less. I don't think the Bitcoin blockchain is even over a terabyte yet. I think it's, I don't know, maybe somebody else knows. Is it like 900 gigs? So we're still under a terabyte. Well, hold on. Hey, it's but the thing is, like, it only grows by 4 megabytes per block regardless. So that's the maximum that it can grow at. And that's just a design feature as well. And that's how the UTXOs are going to work with this. Whereas something like global state, as soon as you go to that model, Ethereum is over 2 terabytes now, I think, or close to 2. So it's already quite a bit bigger. It's, over double in size. And that's just for a light node. I guess if you have the full archival node, I think, is like, if you're going to take the blockchain all the way back with all the data and everything, I think we're up to, it might be 15 or 20 terabytes at this point. So it's quite a bit larger. And I don't know, with Solana, you have a way bigger, I have no idea how big it is, but it is dramatically bigger as well. So therefore, in order to keep up with the state of the chain, you need to have performant hardware for something like Solana. Whereas with Ethereum, in order to keep up to, first of all, catch up to the chain, because if you're going to download the entire history, verify it yourself, have your machine do all the work for it, in order to get back up to speed, that's going to take you a couple of days, let's say, right? Even with Bitcoin and whatever else, in order to run your hardware to catch you up to where you need to be so that you have the current state of the chain. And then to be able to continue onward, you need to have like a NUC or something like this. That's what a lot of people run for your node. And then with Bitcoin, you can run it on a less performant thing because it only requires, has a lower storage requirement, and in order to catch up. Well, 10 minutes for a block, like you can, basically you can spend 10 minutes catching up, or 8 minutes or whatever if you had to in order to, get. But I mean, hardware is quite a bit better than that right now. But just other things to kind of keep in mind too, because it makes more sense as a human to be a part of the account model, right? Like, that's much easier for us to grasp, but it comes with trade-offs, right? And that's kind of something that we don't think about a lot in the account side, because we're just like, hey, trust me, bro, it's all going to work and everything's fine. Nobody runs their own node. Nobody makes their own transactions out of that. You're just trusting the RPC from your wallet provider. And for the most part, it's been fine. But just something that's kind of different. And a lot of Bitcoiners run their own nodes, and therefore they can verify themselves, and they can keep the state of the chain at whatever size.
So this is kind of like a whole other ball of wax, and I don't want to derail the conversation. So a simple yes or no is good for me. I just know that there's a few security guys in here. So when we're talking about Bitcoin and some of the stuff that we were just referencing there and potential vulnerabilities, I know that there's a lot of talk right now. And again, I'm not Bitcoin native, but I know that there's a lot of talk right now sort of about this quantum computing and stuff. Again, a total other ball of wax. but a simple yes or no. Is that sort of a concern related to any of the, the potential vulnerabilities that we've been chatting about today, or no? Interesting. Glad I asked.
Are the sub accounts that you spoke about on Solana, do they have something to do with the scalability issues people talk about with Solana? And how big of an issue is scalability in, let's say, like the next 10, 20 years?
No, I don't know how to answer to this question. I don't know if it's the cause of the scalability of Solana. No, I don't know, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm not really up to date, but in the beginning, Solana had this concept called rent. And because, as you point out, they have a lot of different account types, and they're created, you need like 4 or 5 of them to do a token. As he was saying, they share duties. If they didn't have a little like marginal amount of lamperts, which is the small unit of a soul, they get pruned. So it has its own like garbage collection, things that are dormant for a really long time and haven't been used and are not really meaningfully like carrying a balance. They get removed from the history. Of course, like, they're not like undone or anything. They're part of the state as it advances, but they're no longer like retrievable. But I think that they changed the way that works.
No, you still have the rent.
You still have the rent.
Yeah,
but it's paid automatically or something. They changed something about it recently.
You have to have a minimum of rent to keep your account alive. And that's also why on Solana you have all these tools where you can close, because it's not closed automatically most of the time. So sometimes you have some of your accounts that are still open without coin on it. So you can close it to redeem this Solana that were locked to pay the rent.
I was going to say, you can close those accounts yourself and it gives you money back, actually. So
exactly.
If anybody wants free money, they can Google that. But the reason I asked is because, you mentioned that each coin has like its own account. And so like that data has to be stored somewhere. And although I don't, listen to a ton of the debate over scalability, I was just kind of wondering if the two had anything to do with each other.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I was checking the size of the blockchain. So we are saying Bitcoin is 900 gigabytes. Ethereum full node is 3 terabytes. Archive node is 25 terabytes. And Solana now, there are more than 150 terabytes. So 150 terabytes.
Interesting. Thank you.
That's always scaling. I'm sorry.
Yes, they were saying Bitcoin is around 100 gigabytes a year increase. Solana, I don't know, but it's already huge. So for accounts, for example, we have this account that is a Toli account. So you have this Solana here, and you see each of these tokens. So you have the dollar here, some meme coin, and they are on their own token accounts. And these token accounts are owned by Toli, in this case, the creator of Solana, by the main address that we saw that was managing the Solana. So that's why if these two transactions don't touch the same account, they can be parallelized.
Earlier this week, an Ethereum researcher proposed a roadmap for Ethereum. And it had, I think, some really interesting points on it. One of them being quantum protection is a major thing that they want to work towards. I think 2030 is their goal. The other being scalability. I think it was quite ambitious, but I think 10 million transactions per second was their goal. And the final one was privacy on Ethereum. And curious around like just your input on either of any of those three kind of areas, and if you've heard of, has Solana pushing towards more privacy oriented items, or Bitcoin as well, or any of what are the what is everybody doing in those areas, if you know
But-
anything?
So for Ethereum, in terms of scalability, they were trying to do it via their layer 2. So that's why we saw a lot of different layer 2. So basically, it's chain on top of Ethereum. So imagine you have like a big river and you have like these small rivers that send back the transaction at some point to use part of the security of Ethereum. So that was the main objective to improve the scalability of Ethereum in the next year. But now Vitalik saying it's not really the way, so I don't know. In terms of privacy, so you have some chains, even some L2, that use zero knowledge technology to improve privacy. I don't know if Ethereum want to have this kind of functionality at some point. I imagine, I don't know.
Yeah, there's something coming up. It's called Okaku or Kaoku. No, yeah, Okaku. It's supposed to come in 2029. So that's the privacy kind of feature that Ethereum is gonna adopt. So yeah, and for Solana there is a Arcium. Arcium is privacy on. And I'm not sure if it's I'll have to check it out as well. But.
Yeah, imagine that is on the roadmap of Ethereum at some point. You have also some chain that are dedicated privacy. I think Monero, Zcash, that's also allow to have to activate privacy on coin. So you have some chain that are like focusing, for example, on privacy. But yeah, on Ethereum you have some L2 that allow zero knowledge proof. Yeah. After on Bitcoin, I know there were some projects to mix your Bitcoin and stuff like that, but I don't know too much.
Yeah, there was like Samurai Wallet and Wasabi. Yeah, and that's like the Samurai devs are in jail now. Yeah. So yeah, there's some issues there with the Free Samurai, that kind of effort. But Samurai and Wasabi, and they were using like CoinJoin and there's something else that you would use too there, but I can't think of it at the moment. But anyways, that was for Bitcoin side. But those are like protocols that aren't really like, it's not changing the they're like just apps is the way to think about it, because it's not like baked into they're a protocol, but it's not baked into like the native chain. It's not something that you can just access by using. It's just they use Bitcoin in a certain way that makes it more complicated for you to discover. So you kind of look at it like Tornado Cash, right? Like Tornado Cash was just mixing things up, so you had no way of. It was just very obfuscated and very complicated as compared to like something like Monero or Zcash, like you mentioned. That's like built into the protocol, so very different, right? I guess with Lightning, there is some concept there too, where you can say that it's kind of private because generally it's like once it's off chain, you don't really know where it's being spent, and then it's on somebody's database, and if somebody's database just like wipes it out, then there's like no history. The history is in a database instead of on chain per se. Is that right? Is that accurate? That's a good way of putting it. Okay, sweet.
There's no blockchain.
Yeah, it's just
it's magic.
It's just SQL database. Yeah, so then the database goes away, and then nobody knows what happened. So, yeah, that is one, I guess, part of Lightning if you're trying to keep track. Because like you can keep track of what's happening in a database and say, oh, these Lightning addresses were sending back and forth. But if you decide to hit the delete button, you can delete the status of that, and nobody will ever know. But yeah, so that's a little bit about Lightning, I guess. So,
I'm just wondering, like, do you think the account model was chosen because it adds more features, or because it's higher performance?
I would say both. Yeah, I don't know what was the main idea, but yeah, I think it's more easy to understand. Also, it's more like database visualization.
So the pattern just like fits in with more applications or use cases naturally?
Yeah.
Because what I'm wondering about, we're kind of looping around with this, is your question of like, why did Satoshi pick the UTXO model, right? And I mean, this is a big rabbit hole, but like, what if the point was he thought it was the most scalable and the most efficient? And
for reasons like Bitcoin hasn't gone in that direction, but that doesn't mean that when he was designing the system, that's not what he was envisioning. Just wondering, any thoughts on that?
But I don't know what he was thinking, but I think the chain was really dedicated to payments, to be something really secure that don't allow double payments, that we are sure that what's happening on chain is happening on chain, with a limitation of 21 million Bitcoin, what we're seeing. So really more a vision of a money, digital money, when really Ethereum and Solana are, first of all, they are not like, they are more like gas token, we'll say this. They are using to stake and secure the network, so they don't have the same meaning at all. And they are more used to build decentralized application. So I think at the end, the vision was like completely different when they built Ethereum and when they built Bitcoin. But I don't know if he was already thinking about scalability and imagining.
Because, and I don't know that much, like I'm more of a Bitcoin guy, so I don't really understand the account model as much. But I'm guessing that that's like where the most of the performance issues are, right? Like managing the state of that database.
But it is a way easier for smart contracts to deal with account model than UTXOs for sure. Because UTXOs adds a level of complexity that makes it hard to run smart contracts.
Yeah, just take a think about like if you have multiple assets, and think about it from a different standpoint. When you have multiple assets on the same blockchain trying to be into the same account, and then you're going to divide those into different UTXOs, and they're all going to have, how are you storing each of these assets on, each of these different addresses, right? So it just gets like quite a bit messier, I think, whereas the account can just say, I am sending, because like if you're going to send, let's say just put USDC on there, right? And so if you add another an extra asset in there, are those going to separate UTXOs? How do those UTXOs get paid for? And like, how do you interact with them and how do they get accounted for? So it gets a lot more complicated as soon as you introduce, even one asset, but now start bringing in the thousands or millions of assets that we're at now, regardless of whether they're shitters or not. It's still the fact of like how that could be built into place. So that's one thing that I've thought about. There's probably multiple other things. Again, like the smart.
It's never just one transaction.
Right, yeah, multiple transactions.
Always two transactions. Bucket for the XOs and then it's consolidated and then that's good. I'm not at that guy.
Yeah. But yeah, I think from just like your, just base unit asset that you're just sending, because if you're just sending your native asset, UTXO is probably simple enough. Again, it goes back to the security models that you've talked about and just, double spend, etc. And I think, yeah, there is something to be thought about with that scalability side too, because like each UTXO can be, relatively scalable in itself, right? So that's a whole other concept too.
The other, if I can do one more comment. So in my mind as well, like one major difference between Bitcoin and Ethereum and Solana, and I don't know if this is related to the account model issue or if it's something else, or not issue, but characteristic. And I don't really know the right terminology for this, but in my mind, like Ethereum smart contracts are like always listening, right? Like you can interact with them, right? Like you can have a contract and I can send something to that contract and then something happens, right? Whereas in the Bitcoin world, a script can only be executed once, right? Like you make the transaction and the rules of that smart contract are executed and then it's into you can never interact with that program again. Is that related to the account model, do you think, or is that
Honestly, I don't know about Trip on Bitcoin at all. But
the Turing complete side, right? Like Bitcoin is not
Exactly,
Turing
yeah.
complete, whereas like Ethereum is, and that's where it allows for that. I don't know if
Yeah, and I'm
recursive
wondering, is
the right
that
word?
it's complete.
Turing, Turin, yeah, Turing complete. So it allows for to continue running. And this is probably a better kind of. I'll let maybe the Gigabrain in the back there tell me.
I can ask him after, yeah.
Well, or he can share now. Would you like to share now about? there. I'll let him go
Can you
with that.
remind me of the question I was daydreaming?
Bitcoin scripts are only executed once, right? Whereas like Ethereum smart contracts are always listed back with them.
Yeah.
Does that relate? Like, is that why there's an account? Those not-
I don't. They may be related, but it's more like path dependency or something. I think I was saying before that like I don't think that I don't think there's an answer to it. There's things that came before and people kind of were like, oh, that's an interesting idea. We'd like to issue assets. We'd like to.
But
take
don't you
it
think
in
it
this
has?
direction.
You don't think it has anything to do with like Turing completeness? That doesn't help or hinder or anything here, because like you're saying with the
I
script.
would say it's not Turing complete because you'd have to spend all the gas money to execute forever.
No, I don't mean like you're executing
Oh,
forever.
yeah. No.
I mean again, like you can
Yeah.
go back a week later and interact.
I think what you're talking about is like the idea that Bitcoin script has like a commit reveal sequence to it. Is that you like commit to some rules, and then once you reveal it, that you have to pay, right? This is like the pay to public script hash and all those combinations. And you can look at them like they're actually kind of different. They're different account types in a way, but they're more about what script they can run. Like they're very basic rules that they have. They just don't carry a balance, and that's why we don't call them accounts. They don't carry a balance. They can't have totally arbitrary code. But no, I would say that like there's just not a first-rate entity that you're calling every time. You're saying like, you know, the machine itself execute this against my account, right? Whereas in Ethereum and Solana, you're saying everyone run this program and, you know, verify that the like update the world state. So they're not that different. They're just, you're right in that there's one like, all right, once it's revealed, it doesn't run again. But you know, I guess like there's multi-sigs, time locks, and things like that would behave the same way on repeated interactions. So it depends on the script, like that you're doing.
Yeah. ChatGPT saying that UTXO can be Turing complete. For example, on Cardano, there is some Turing complete, and they use UTXO.
It's more like there are opcodes that are disabled on Bitcoin, disabled by Satoshi. But I would say that like Ethereum or these other ones are not really can't run.
They're not infinite.
They're not infinite.
Why you are saying that? Because if you have like a program account, it will stay
Yeah.
forever on chain, no?
It's complicated and require me to define too many things. But like read about like the halting problem.
The what? Halting?
The halting problem. It's like when do you stop? Program with infinite loops. So you're getting at the right thing.
Okay, thank you.
All right, maybe one more question, and then
Super quick
then
one
we'll
for
wrap
me.
it up here. guys.
First of all, I don't know if everybody else heard it, but fascinated to go back and look at blockchain that predates Bitcoin. That's quite interesting to me. So with Ethereum, obviously we have the Ethereum Foundation, constantly able to evolve and everything like that as we move forward. With Bitcoin, it's just Bitcoin, right? Like, is there any like, can we make changes to the system? Can we make changes to Bitcoin, or that's what we got?
Yeah, you have Bitcoin Core. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you had a lot of big updates on Bitcoin on many parameters, and yeah, they are pushed by Bitcoin Core developers, so they can do some change on the chain, and they like you're saying, they're improving it regularly. Yeah.
So yeah, with the core devs, like they're making new models of the client of Bitcoin Core, for example, right? So they bring out new versions, new ideas, whatever, to help kind of utilize the protocol. The protocol itself is very rarely undergoes massive changes. And so the last one, correct me if I'm wrong, 2017 with like SegWit.
Oh, the
Or Taproot, sorry, 2021 with Taproot, right? So we had SegWit and like the the block size wars happened in 2020. Or, I guess that was hard forward.
saying that they're hard for.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So we had 2017 was that was back the Yeah, SegWit stuff, and then Taproot was 2021. So it's been 5 years now since we've had an update, and that's why there's like people asking for things like covenants and opcat and checksig from stack. TX hash is another one I see. I don't know if that's inclusive of a bunch of things. There's a lot of changes being proposed. There's also this like BIP 110 that is being brought forward, where it's like trying to restrict Bitcoin even further because they don't want to. They just want it to be money. They don't want any fun on the chain. There will be no JPEGs on the chain.
No.
Yeah, no fun allowed. So just money, and money the way that they want it to be, not your way. So anyways, I'm just personally against 110 just because of the way that it's come to light. Sure, Core is fucked up and made some poor choices on things, let's say, but yeah, regardless, 110 is just a complete joke, is my opinion. But anyhow,
a quick flippant question.
Sure. One last one. We got to wrap it up here.
For bad actors who steal various amounts of crypto, would you consider proportional electric shocks a poetic punishment?
Sorry, I didn't catch the question.
Okay, I'll repeat. For bad actors who steal various amounts of crypto, would you consider proportional electric shocks a poetic punishment?
Don't steal crypto. There's where it's at. Be a good human. Yeah. For those who didn't hear, yeah, being in crypto is punishment enough. All right. Okay.
Nice.
No, that's it. One more quick. Have you? No, because everybody wants to know about it. Do you know about? Have you heard about extended UTXO? What is it about?
It's Cardano.
Yeah, I was reading right now about it. But apparently on ADA blockchain, you can have like a program that run with a while book or this kind of infinite book. Yeah. But I don't know too much about it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's Cardano, and we don't
not
really.
A user of.
That's mental illness is too thick for us there, so we'd.
No,
No, that's Cardano. So that's a whole other thing. They are UTXO based as well, and then you have the extended UTXO was something that they brought up. I don't know enough about it. It uses Haskell. There's no Haskell devs. You have to get a PhD just in order to figure out how to write a smart contract. Solidity, you can vibe code it now. I don't know. Maybe you can vibe code Haskell, but I don't know. I'm not really sure. But anyhow. Yeah, punishment. Jesus. Anyways, okay. Yeah, I think we'll call it there. Thank you very much. Round of applause for, Awesome. Bravo. Nice. Yeah. And yeah, thanks everybody for coming out. Just again, reminder, mint your PO app. So if you don't have it already, download the PO app and then hit mint, search for location. You can mint just 2 PO apps tonight only. So yeah, please do that, and yeah, reach out to us if you're interested in contributing or being a part of the next space, or have interest there as far as dedicated desks and whatnot. We'll have more information coming out sooner or later, but yeah, want to hear back from everybody. And if you don't mind, just fold up your chair and feel free to hang out for a little bit. Fold up your chair, we'll stack them behind the door. Thanks everybody. Good night.
C'était bien magique, je t'ai cru.
Tellement de questions, je pensais pas que ça.
En vrai, j'ai bien kiffé. J'ai appris plein de trucs. Ouais, franchement, hyper intéressant.
J'ai sauté plein de trucs. J'étais perdu dans mes lignes. C'est normal. Après, j'ai fait cette présentation avec Claude, tous les diapos. On en a parlé. Mais c'est un truc de fou. Je sais, mais c'est pas dégueu. Tu sais que j'ai regardé. T'as fait tout ça avec Claude? J'ai pas écrit. J'ai juste ajouté une map blanche qui était cramée là.
Non, mais t'as fait tout ça avec Claude.
En fait, je lui ai dit, je veux une présentation. 5 heures.
Je travaille sur une application perso, potentiellement ma prochaine compagnie.
Oh, okay. Well, we're going to be I mean, back and forth, and they're pretty good, right? This one's pretty good. I actually like I'm more of a three-pointer, but I actually find it more enjoyable. Because it's a bit better here. don't know, it's a bit more easy to go. Yeah, it's less rigid, exactly. And like no one is getting upset. Right? Like they were comparing three options. And I didn't miss anyone. Like getting offended, right? But like you would not be able to have a similar conversation. No, because it would be you know, like, and they'd be angry. So it's interesting, but like business seems a bit like it's just people want to play around with technology and not take it seriously.
Mais dans la ici ou Ah ouais. Moi c'est pareil là, ça après pareil en voyage en France, parce que là j'ai travaillé quelques mois et revenir à l'automne. Ah ouais. Oh yeah. Where's the last place you went? No, that's not too far. It's not. Oh, is that so? Yeah, but once you try to travel again, you're gonna get the travel bug, and you're gonna do it more and more and more because you're gonna like it. You know, if you go to Mexico or all those countries, Europe, and China now. I never thought I'd be interested to China, but now I'm thinking of going to Shanghai or Shenzhen to see what's going on there. Just as an attraction. Oh yeah? My name. Oh, garden city? So they just grow flowers and plants and trees? Or? Yeah. Yeah. And are you a fisher of Then it's okay, I don't know. It's so big. Canada is so big. If you want to visit everything, it's like Canada. You spend like years. So A9 is like so some Chinese they don't complain and they don't want to separate those guys like Taiwan. No. Yeah, with the bridge I'm sure it's connected. Oh, yeah, that's cool. Yeah, but then it's a long distance. So what's the distance in kilometers from Alaska to Florida? It's like 5,000? Yeah, so the same length as across Canada. Okay, well, at least it's to be able to change the climate. Oh, that's that, huh? Okay. Looks like a village. But that's just take me in maybe that's a place that's I don't know if they have very much crypto there. Sometimes they ban crypto. They say yeah now it's allowed, it's forbidden again. They set that up. They're not going to okay, it's gonna be like a centralized CBDC or nothing. So even if you have large being not used enough, and I think that's the storage of value. So people use them.
Different from electric. You have a commodity and you have electric. Two separate levels.
Yeah. But it is good to be able to spend on some fruits and veggies and I don't know if Bitcoin will achieve that now in this mindset. It's not even enough storage for value. They just want to Bitcoin and to store it. They don't want to spend it every day.
The function of the area. The reason I didn't get involved in Bitcoin in early days, which I should have, was like, I don't agree conceptually with the idea that it's required. I wanted to like a ledger space after the transactions.
But it's a ledger of independent transactions, but the adoption is being slow, and because the way it is, those first two are figured out on layer 2. So unless you use Lightning, if you want to pay Bitcoin on shares and all kinds of stuff, it's too much. So you can order coffee, but some people, I see, like so entertaining to hear what I'm saying. Yes, exactly. Yeah. But when you look at it, myself, that's respect for Bitcoin because it was the first implementation of a blockchain. That was the first time a blockchain can work. Before it was only on paper, on theory. And when people came out, they were, oh, now it's working. So I have a lot of students that say, like, there's a deep foundation. And now we have to understand that yeah, we have to be more basic than that. Monolith is not evolving or can tell you something later. Based on, yeah, it's like a gene, like a new generation, you know, like the offspring, you know. Yeah, needs and capabilities and something, but in the real world, to buy stuff, exchange food, or set up decentralized applications. So that's why it's nice, but so far I don't know any dialogues of this one. You know, they are like Bitcoin meeting, and they can say, okay, this is Bitcoin, so this way, get out of Satoshi and what. Besides that, I never went to buy anymore. We'll see how it goes, but myself as Spanish, what is that? Oh yeah, Curacao, yeah?
We have a lot of businesses.
Oh, okay. Have you tried to run stuff in Bitcoin? No? That's going to be the big list as long as you can like use it like
it's like the it's like the activism of the Coinbase deal.
Yeah.
They went out and recruited a whole bunch of people.
Yeah.
Never
Oh, yeah. That's how it goes. We get ready to go and set up like a terminal and edit on that store and configure Are you optimistic on some blockchain yourself? Do you have like a favorite blockchain or?
I went to thread searching. I could go for the ID of the target. Wow,
that's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm sad it's going away. It's like so much charm.
Yeah, right, that's true. Like 20 years to have
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. You know, we always talk about the proof of standing the time. They are battle tested after years. And you have to see, okay, they've been like around for 9 years, 10 years, 15 years. So I think the concept is more than a concept after 15 years. As opposed to some changes came out 2 days ago and they just like copy-paste something and try to do the same but better.
A couple years ago from
Those didn't go anywhere. But
sounds like you got the Ethereum guys here.
the main that we talked about tonight, the 10 biggest market cap.
Where's your accent?
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I need to ask you about. Do you have any link to sell? Do you want to? Yeah. Because I think it's the future.
Why? Because of the oracles?
Yeah.
A little further away.
But do you have any yourself to sell, by the way? Or
Okay, right now I'm trying to buy crypto.
Oh, you want? So, are you gonna buy something? Are you looking into it?
I'm trying, yeah.
So, what do you think of it these days? Because it's cheap, huh?
If you give me a link, I will sell it to something else.
Oh yeah.
In Discord, that's the best way. I'm Tangle.
En fait, le problème, au final,
Are they? Was it like with a free mine or something? Or?
Yeah. Okay.
There's a lot of
Right now, the tokenomics.
Yeah, but if you want to, like, let's say data from it and to put them on your chain, I mean, for your chain, you gotta buy their tokens, so there's a utility.
For example, Polymarket, don't use link.
Yeah, but Polymarket is not a blockchain.
So in this, yeah, so that's what's going on. I'm glad to hear you're flying away. No, it's in Denver. It was like the whole thing.
That's the only option.
Oh, okay. All right. But so you don't think there's a good potential with Link with their tokenomics and stuff?
This feels like we're down going to Bitcoin right now. And I mean, even just.
Yeah, myself, I'm a long-term. I don't do day trading. I'm not, trying to make some money on the weekend. Oh yeah. Oh, yeah, but you are more like short-term than me, so that's why.
Next 2 years, I will not buy it.
In 2 years?
Yeah, in 2 years I will buy it. Next 2 years I will not buy it.
Oh yeah. So you think it's gonna stay around $8 or in that range for like so long? Like $5, $8,
But I think
$10?
Bitcoin go down a bit, Link will go more.
Yeah, for sure. Which is not fair because there's no correlation. It's just like risk management, allocation of money. Oh yeah.
Step over here.
They are in shit on those guys.
Man, I don't want to get into this, you know.
But now it's been like clear to the open and everybody knows about it. So it's no way! Axiom? Oh, okay, no, I don't know that.
They are following the big KOL that was stealing coin. That's their address at once, so they were buying before and the guy created a list of Excel that he shared with his friend to counter trade for next year that also doing shit. So everyone was doing shit and the guy was found there. En fait, il y a a things that make me j'ai un Discord showing screenshots. Like, me, when I do a transaction of $10, I'm like creating a new account.
Obfuscation to the max.
And
Look what I did today. Yeah.
He's screaming his face. Oh, I forgot. I like his bottle with the guy that I have. Me, I'm like offuscating $100 and you are shipping $1 million on your Discord.
Yeah, but it's a competition of who's gonna be under the light the most, who shows the biggest car, the biggest watch. It's like complete nonsense.
Yeah. I want to work in money on the ring.
Yeah. Those are easy prey to catch for sure. And yourself, you follow the crypto world a little bit?
Yeah? What do you like about it, or what do you know about it? What's your... Which one?
Well, simple.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Like the orange.
Oh, and then so what you want to buy on it? Oh, so you like Bitcoin? Yeah. Okay. So are you teaching her some stuff? Yeah. Okay. So
I'm trying to buy Bitcoin, but I can buy Bitcoin at the top every time. Every time I'm showing my screenshots, she's like, oh, I need to buy it. But when I see my screenshot, I should sell my, but I never sell it. It's like when they're showing screenshots, it's the same as the people chilling on Discord. Like, when I say to people I have money, it's not to sell it.
oh yeah.
Sell when you take the screenshot.
Interesting things.
What do you follow?
Oh, myself, I used to like Solana a lot, which is one he talked about tonight, because it was like a new kind of concept. They said they're gonna stop the scalability and the speed, so it was. I mean, it is very fast and way cheaper. So I thought for me, for day-to-day payment, when you want to buy stuff in commerces and shops, was going to be a better solution. So that was my yeah, it is. And but adoption, I don't know about adoption. Can we buy stuff in Vancouver with Solana?
Like the one on the Canada Place, ice cream.
Ice cream?
Yeah, in many places you can buy. En fait, c'est un terminal.
Oh!
I speak with the guy, because I was the first guy pay in Solana in the ice cream place. Place.
Oh yes, just close to, yeah, not too far from here, yeah.
Okay, I speak with him, but...
Yeah, there's always a lineup outside there, like it's supposed to be famous. And
you speak... No,
the corner one.
No, it's not.
Oh, but close to that. Okay.
Yeah, it's close. So when you go down to the plane...
oh, yeah.
It's on the one on the left, and after you have the brewing, whatever bar, and so they also take Solana.
Okay.
But I was bullish on Solana. So I was bullish on Ethereum. Kind of like the L2 scalability. But no, Vitaly c'est finally base giving Ethereum to their own chain.
Oh, yeah.
So you have like Ethereum is kind of, now I'm like, finally, only Solana remaining.
Yeah. Yeah, he's the main, player, and I think he's gonna be a better, cheaper solution. Yeah. Yeah. And they set up partnership with Visa, Shopify, like last year already, so that's going for sure. But yeah, and so what's the solution to have this kind of direct conversion with Solana? Is it like a BTC Pay or?
It's a terminal.
So you can get any crypto on that?
Almost. There are like 20 different cryptos.
Okay.
You can even pay in Farcoin or...
Oh yeah.
But yeah, at the end you don't pay in crypto like... In Vancouver you can pay...
Wallet of Satoshi?
Coinos.
Oh, Coinos, yeah.
Yeah, this one you pay in Bitcoin, the guy receives Bitcoin.
Yeah.
So
it's
Bitcoin. But this one is not really more like version.
But you have to get the coin at some point. You can exchange it. I mean, it happens on the fly.
But they come back again, they use Jupyter or whatever. Stable. But
yeah, smart contract stuff, just, yeah. So that's good, no? But so no link, because I was thinking if I need to buy something and wait for
right now, I want to buy crypto, the market is done.
That's the right time to buy.
Yeah, right.
So, and what about Tao? You went to Tao? It went down a lot, huh?
Right now, I'm just I keep my position in hype that I don't touch. I keep my position Solana, I don't touch. I put some stable on the side. Like $50. Right now, I'm well simple. But I value like $50 every. I don't trade, but I'm stable.
So you're on vacation, kind of. So that's why you have time to come with friends and enjoy. Because day trading is it's a nightmare. You just always like on the computer 24/7. And what do you do when you don't do stuff? Oh yeah. Before you came here, I worked at Tokyo. have to